Good afternoon, everyone. Just to let you know, we're going to be recording this for future use, so everyone is aware. And we do, right off the bat, hope that it's interactive. So please feel free to interrupt me or anyone else. Jump in, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and questions and all that good stuff. But I should start with an introduction. I'm Damian Conforti, counsel to NJRSHA, and I said that backwards. New Jersey Restaurant Hospitality Association. And with me, I'm very excited to have Lauren Magenta,
Hello.
waving to you all there, of Magenta Media. She is the founder of her own media group. Um, I think Lauren has a lot of different descriptions and titles, but primarily what she focuses on is how to help you brand, and how to help you brand in a way that gets your brand noticed. And really, I think, Lauren, the best description that I read for you is creator educator. As you know, I know you've done some influencing in the past. You're a strategist. You create content. You help your clients create content. And by the way, some very impressive. I don't know. Can I reference your client list?
Of course, yeah.
A couple of them: Faye, yogurt, Braun, Dove, chocolate,
Hmm.
not to be confused with the soap brand, and some Martha Stewart media properties. Is that right?
Yep, all correct.
Among other smaller and closely held entities, and other larger ones as well. But what Lauren has graciously offered her time to us today to discuss is branding, specifically ahead of something that might be of interest to the members, and that is the World Cup, which is expected to, I don't know, for about a month or so, bring a whole new crop of what we hope are hospitality customers to the area, whether it be South Jersey or North Jersey or somewhere in between, because we have the New York, New Jersey stadium, we have the Philadelphia stadium, and we have a lot of hospitality businesses in the great state of New Jersey in between both. And Lauren and I have been talking about this opportunity for some of the members of our association, and how to take advantage of what you can do. And I think you're going to hear this a lot from Lauren, that doesn't cost you anything, and then that will can be layered in into ways that you can take advantage of marketing or advertising now, and other ways that would cost you something. But first and foremost, how to develop your brand. And we thought it was a good topic in anticipation of the World Cup, and for years to come after that. So without further ado, Lauren, I don't know if you want to say a few words or introduce yourself, or otherwise clarify what we are talking about today. I think I came close.
No, you nailed it. I mean, it's as simply as the program I run is called Own Your Brand, and I help big and small brands better storytell online to be as strategic as possible with a huge focus on organic content, right? How can we capture the audience we're looking for this step before paid spend and advertisement? And I think working with Damian now for a while, there's so much opportunity with this group in particular to own your brand and use social more strategically. Should we jump in with, do you want to kick off or should we jump in with a few ideas? And I do agree with you, Damien. If anyone on this call has any businesses that they want to put into the chat, what your business is, what the focus is, where you're located, we can brainstorm even on this call ways for you to strategically storytell online. So feel free to jump in the chat. I know that I have a list of 2 to 3 things that I recommend all businesses do in general to storytell that I would love to provide to this audience when we're ready.
Sure. Let's jump right in. I think that's what everybody wants to hear. How can we benefit from your advice, perhaps your services, and do it in the short term so that we're geared up and can capture as much business as we can going forward?
Okay, great. I love it. So I'll jump in and I always say to Damian, keep me legally honest. But I will give you from a creative perspective the things that I would do if I were a business leading up to this very, as we can say, it's an opportunity to be more strategic online. So the businesses that I work with, there are probably two to three things I would do today if you were my client and we were gearing up for something like the World Cup. When it comes to content, um, everyday content. This could be any platform from wherever you are live, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, even if you're on Substack, all of the platforms, as well as also your own owned and operated websites. A few of the biggest things we like to talk about is SEO through social. So about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, TikTok and Instagram now have SEO crawlers that plug and play through these platforms. So as people are looking for World Cup or they're traveling here or they're not as familiar with New York, New Jersey, maybe Philly, I think Damien was telling me some of the games might be in Philly, they'll be searching for keywords, let's say soccer game, World Cup, where to eat in XYZ area. So I think it's a really, really smart strategic move to start infusing some of that SEO. If you are a restaurant that serves, I'll just use burgers for the sake of this call, the best burger around the World Cup. And I think Damien can jump in with some legally protected ways to do that. But starting to create content where both the text on screen is around the World Cup or soccer or food. But also, if you have anyone creating content for you, a social media manager, a social strategist, voiceovers and photos, and the way that we engage with our social media feed will then start to be picked up in the next week to 3 weeks from people who are traveling here for the game. Do you want to jump in on can they say World Cup? Can they say FIFA? What's the scoop on that?
Yeah, I think generally speaking, the terms you used are safe, right? And obviously, we'd want to take a look at and work specifically with a client or a particular hospitality brand on what their targeted SEO is going to be, the terms that they're going to use, and the target audience. FIFA is a big sort of red flag, right? That's one that's out there, and we know, and we've discussed this at association meetings that FIFA has sort of on lockdown the areas that they travel to, and if you're going to try to market or make money off of their brand, the FIFA brand, you're putting yourself in harm's way. Short of that, I think that everything else is open to discussion. Obviously, it would be specific to the brand that wants to market and take advantage of this opportunity. But there is a lot that you can do. I don't think that it's overly restrictive. And so let's assume that we have that in place. We've had that discussion with the client.
Yeah.
Maybe someone for me who's, borderline technological idiot, and by borderline I mean like slightly below idiot. How does that actually work? So if we do our job, we think about and put in place what we can legally say and how we want to
Yeah.
craft that target SEO language, right? How do we go from there to embed the embedding process or whatever that might be called to actually showing up in people's feeds so that I'm doing something that I know is actually going to be seen, right? I mean, that's the key. One of the major keys to the advertising marketing. You could have the greatest used to be photos or video, and now it's completely different. It's AI generated blips. But if
Totally.
that's not going to get in front of my target audience, well, then, what good is it?
Yep. No, totally. So I'd love to give an example, actually. I don't think anyone wrote their businesses in here, but I can actually use one of my clients is a candy store opening in Sleepy Hollow, New York. And I think if I can kind of role play and use her as the example, since she's in the hospitality space and opening, she came to me and she had 24 followers, 24. 2, 4. In 4 weeks, she went, so enough time, presumably, to get these businesses from their following to a much larger following. In 4 weeks, she grew 50,000 followers. There has not been a single paid advertisement or paid post or boosted post. It has all been through location tags and text on screen. So let's role play. Let's say we talk about SEO and text on screen and how do I bring that to life? This candy store, can you hear me okay, Damien?
Yeah, I think I was
Oh,
frozen.
you were frozen. Okay, someone froze, and I didn't know if it was me or you. Okay,
It sounds like me because
okay,
everyone else
great.
seemed fine but me, but go ahead.
Okay, great. So, her goal was for everybody in Westchester, right? So we don't just need Sleepy Hollow to find her. So if you were to post a video or a post on any of these accounts, you can tag the location. I would try to be strategic. Is it met where is American Dream? Would it is it East Rutherford, I think is the
Yeah.
town,
Yep.
or the greater East Rutherford area. Tagging the location where your business is. And then when we talk about, let's say it's a video, let's say you do have the best burger in cat town or the best candy spot in town. You can grab a 7-second video of anything at your location or restaurant that you want to highlight. Okay, so we will role play with a short video. And then in any of these apps, Instagram, TikTok, CapCut is another great free platform that you can make content on. Canva is, I can't say all businesses, but most businesses will have Canva. There's a free version. You can add in content about from your business. And the AI stuff, Damien, like is getting pulled. It's getting tagged. We've loved it. It's being used, but it's being used a little less and less, I would say, particularly if it's hospitality. If you have a location that people come to, content can be taken, video can be taken that tells the story of what your business focuses on. So we can say we open one of these video editing apps, we upload a 7-second video of anything, I like to say in Own Your Brand, that makes you unique. What's the thing people come to you for? Is it candy? Is it drink? Is it food? Is it rest? Is it bar, restaurant? And then the text on screen that you overlay over that video is the SEO. So is it the best burger in Bergen County for the World Cup? Is it World Cup, um, you know, top 3 beers to try when you're visiting New Jersey for the World Cup? I was saying to Damien on one of these calls, New Jersey alone will be a trending term. Places to eat in New Jersey for the World Cup. So the text that you put on screen is inevitably what the SEO crawlers, if you will end up pulling. But I think here's the main difference that someone like my client, the candy store, had so much success. 50,000 followers in 4 weeks is a big deal. But that came from either daily or every other day posting for 2 to 3 weeks. So a lot of this stuff, people come to me and say, I want to go viral. Well, first of all, you don't really want to go viral, but that's a conversation for a different day or a glass of wine. Viral is not always valuable. And we really want content that adds value back to our business. So if you were to be on this call and look at your content plan and say, okay, I want to infuse World Cup, it can't just be once or twice. The algorithm, just like SEO in Google, I assume most businesses have at least a website. SEO doesn't work by just launching a website. It's about being committed online, picking a niche, and posting again and again and again. And that's when the algorithm will say, oh, World Cup, places to eat for World Cup. I'm going to start to feature this business.
So I think what you're saying is focused. Well, first of all, you do your homework, you figure out what is the best focused plan, right? And what the message wants to be. You really zero in, you get that message the way you want it. So it's focused, it's consistent, right? Is I think what you're saying. And you roll it out in that manner, focused and consistent. But you also said something I thought that was really interesting that I have never heard in recent past, which really ever because it's a new thing.
Okay.
But AI generated is really not what's getting it done, which I think I know for me, maybe some others on the call is kind of nice to hear a breath of fresh air because it's daunting, right? It's overwhelming to think that no matter what you do, AI is going to do it faster, it's going to do it better, and it's going to maybe trump what you're doing. So, what do you mean by that when you say
I'd love to dive into that.
original content?
Yeah, I'd love to dive into that. And then also we can talk about influencers. If these brands don't feel comfortable making their own content, we could talk about how to infuse some of this strategy into influencers. So here's the thing with these platforms. They're now flagging AI content. And you'll get a little, I don't even know what to call it, tag on a piece of content that says AI generated or features AI. Um, Brands don't want that. You know, the brands that I work with that do use AI, they'll plug in their product or service into something to hopefully make content faster. But the business that I have, which is called Own Your Brand, really focuses on founder-led, story-led storytelling, and that stuff works. The more, and listen, I use AI. I use AI for a lot of my business and the back end and the systems, and I love it and appreciate it what its value is to my business. But when it comes to storytelling, we are still people are craving personal connection. That's what lands. People want, think about the last restaurant you went to, the new restaurant. Was it a friend saying, you've got to go there? You've got to go there. Who do you find your babysitters from and your doctors from? This is all that personal connection. So I say when it comes to social and online, people really like hearing from founder or from personal storytelling. Damien, you just said something also that I thought was interesting. You said, um, like the way I want to highlight this work is you said you want to find the thing you want to focus on. I believe so clearly that focus on the thing you're the best at. Like right now, what is the thing that people walk into your doors for? Is there something that, think about viral in the restaurant? What's the thing that everybody orders? What's the thing people come for? What's the thing that makes your business uniquely you? And that's what I would create content about. And when it comes to the World Cup, can you tie the thing, the menu item, the rate, um, the location to the World Cup strategically? Can you own your storytelling for the thing that makes your business uniquely you? And then how do we tie it to by using SEO, by saying the best X when you're visiting New Jersey for the World Cup?
And so let's talk a little bit about, you know, I like to approach things from the perspective of the Main Street pizza place because I think
Yeah.
that can
Okay,
kind of
cool.
cut a bunch of cross sections for our members and the people that are on and who are going to be listening, right? We can always go from there, right? And someone running the local pizza place, Italian restaurant, time, they don't have time, right? The margins are tight.
Yep.
There's just about enough time in the day to make sure that the staff is going to be there, the product is going to be there, the reservations are in order, and we're ready to go by 5:30.
Yep.
What is the expected return here, right? What is the value in this, especially for the local place where I can just sort of envision that a lot of people here listening to this might say, all right, well, if I had the time and I was going to devote the time to do this, what are the odds, whether World Cup or otherwise, that
Yeah.
my clientele is going to change one bit, right? I know my consistent customers that I'm going to continue to get who is going to seek me out, again, World Cup or otherwise, and come to my place here on Main Street, USA,
Yeah.
as a result of me doing this, whether I do it for 20 straight days or 30 straight days, or even if I get to the point like you used in your example about the candy
Mhm.
shop, if you will, I develop 3,000 or 53,000 followers. Where's the value in that? How is that actually going to drive traffic to my place that I didn't otherwise have before?
Totally. I mean, and this is like what I do, right, for a living. The potential is so valuable of investing in social. And now, again, we could talk about it from an influencer perspective or a paid ads perspective, but just the idea that if the Main Street pizza shop claimed credibility, and I think even more so, people are coming to New York, New Jersey for what? What does everybody always talk about? Pizza, the pizza slice. We had friends visit from 2 states over. Where's the best pizza? It's like that's what people want. Can you claim credibility for being the best slice, the best pie, the largest slice, um, the original? Um, can you claim credibility for 20 to 30 days? What does that add to your business? A line out the door. The candy store isn't even open yet, and she has reservations for opening day.
Hmm.
Line out the door. They turned it into an e-commerce business. Now they have people ordering hats and tote bags ahead of opening. So social, what it gives you is the opportunity for growth. It's not guaranteed, nothing's guaranteed. But if you put in the work, enough businesses around us have proven to turn viral content into valuable. But I think the thing these businesses should focus on is what makes them. I mean, to me, obviously, this is what I do. Some people are like, I don't have time for social. I'm like, Do you want to grow? This is where growing is. I mean, social to me is more worth investing in than AI because this tells your story, clear as day who you are, feeds the SEO machine, and potentially collaborations, co-posts. And I would love to get into that. But if the businesses don't have enough time and might just say, this, I have no time for this. Are you doing co-posts with local creators? Are you collaborating with influencers, people in the local mom groups, all these crazy groups on Facebook where people ask for advice or ask for connection? The opportunity is being sold out, having reservations, and doing better month over month with revenue. Is the idea that the pizza store is at max capacity for revenue? I would bet not. I would bet there is opportunity for growth and they can use social to claim some credibility.
So maybe we pause right there, Lauren, if you don't mind. See if anyone has any questions right up until this point. And again, feel free, even if it's something that we haven't touched on yet, that maybe you were waiting to hear or wanting us to touch on. But we'll give it a second, see if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I love personalized examples. I feel like they're really, really helpful, and I would love to provide if people are looking for that.
Okay, don't see any in the chat. So we've talked about how we get there for free,
Yeah.
um, and what we can do to have this focused, targeted SEO to build our brand, drive more revenue, why it's important for even the most local of local places.
Should we
What
talk?
else do you suggest that our hospitality owners focus on in trying to build their brand?
Yeah, I think there are two next steps. I think including the World Cup and beyond, and influencers have gotten really good and obviously really bad raps in the recent past. But it's particularly hospitality. I think you could be really strategic around an event like this, where you could be featured 1 month out, 6 weeks out, 1 month out, even a week or two out, where you connect with the right influencer that is hyper local to your either your location, or I think, Damien, you were telling me some could be 20, 30 miles away from the stadium, if you will. So maybe you're either 20, 30 minutes out and that's where people can stay, or right up towards the location of these sporting events. I would highly recommend, and if I was working with you building a social plan, that includes influencer relationships. Because there's so much a business can do to own their own brand and tell their own story, claim credibility, and show up in the feed. But it is almost like the Disney Fast Pass, if you will, if that connects to anyone, where jumping the line is finding an influencer that has a like-minded audience. And remember, we're not just looking for sports fans, we're looking for wives and cousins and families that might be hosting these family members that might save or share these posts with people that are going. So thinking of that and keeping that diversity in your mind as you're working with influencers, but they're the ones that will be creating the roundups, the top three. I wish I knew if they were hotels or restaurants on the call, but either one, if you're one of the top three Italian spots to visit or pizza you must try in New Jersey when visiting for the World Cup, you could pitch these concepts to influencers. And the cost here, Damien, is the meal, right? The cost of working with an influencer. We did a video a few months ago together, like likes, shares, and legal protection on social content. So I
Right.
think I think when you guys email this out, if those can be married together, it would be really helpful for these business owners to listen to.
I think
But
that's an excellent idea. We'll do that. So everyone, we'll send you Lauren's and my and another attorney from my office, Todd Dennis's discussion about protecting your marks and your brand as you're using the services of an influencer. But go
yes,
ahead.
because that video has a lot about paying influencers and also in exchange for meals and stays. So I can let you guys watch that one. So, but the same way, there are levels where you can truly just exchange your service or product for the influencer to feature you. And then of course there's paying them. But offering meals or your service in exchange for them to feature you in a highlight reel. Because if you think about influencers, their job is to perform. And if the World Cup is stepping on their ground, they want to go viral for the information, the knowledge, a post that has the most share and save. So now you're taking the pressure of content off of your desk and you're putting it on the influencer's desk, a bunch of hyper-local influencers, and offering them meals or services in exchange for being included in their content. If I owned a hospitality business, I would be reaching out to tons and tons of local influencers to try to get featured as one of the spots that they claim is a must around the World Cup.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I think you just said it. Local influencer. Who is an influencer these days, that, or what type of influencer, I guess, to use the word, has an actual positive impact? Because I think what you're going to say is not what some of our listeners are thinking when you say the word influencer.
Yeah. So influencer, yes, fair. Influencer is anybody with, I would say, 5,000 followers or more. That being said, these micro influencers, 2, 3, 4,000 followers, do not look past them. They would be a great opportunity as well. But these are people who have a niche following on any of the platforms. Is this what you're referring to, Damien? Like
Yeah,
what?
I think you're exactly, you're saying it. A micro
Okay.
influencer. What's a micro influencer? Because what I'm driving at is, we all know who the big influencers are. It's now, some of them are billionaires, right? And you see these
That is
documentaries about
certainly
them.
not
And
who I'm talking about. No, no, no. There is a tremendous amount of value in what we call micro influencers, which is, I really value the under 20,000 club. These people, where can you find local influencers? That's a great question. So you can find, first of all, that's a great job for AI. That would be a great job for Claude. I highly recommend Claude over Chat at this point, but um, I would recommend going into Claude, saying what your business is, what your focus is, and saying, please give me a list of influencers between 2 and 20,000 followers who focus on food, lifestyle, travel in the greater North Jersey area. Um, AI is a great opportunity to make a list for you of people that you can connect with. If these businesses don't already know people within their area with 5,000 followers, um, that's a great place to find them. And then I did get sidetracked by that, Damien. But the goal was, what do we value as a micro influencer?
well, and to just, again, keep it that local example, like we're talking about, to keep it that local example. We don't have to spend a lot of money. We can find someone who has influence, who's maybe not a celebrity, or has an international presence. In fact, and I think you've used the term a couple times now, a local influencer, it might just be someone who is, for whatever reason, their opinion is valued in the community, right? And if we're thinking about all things local and trying to maximize the amount of business we can drive to our local establishment, I don't know, is there a person who in the area, in the town, who is particularly outspoken? Obviously, we want to stay away from controversy, but for whatever reason, they have a significant following. Can someone like that drive traffic if they're, willing to, and you are willing as the brand to want to team up with them?
Totally. My big question is just um, knowing their niche and knowing your business. So, are we marrying with an influencer who um, posts about the things that you're hoping for? Someone that has influence, maybe in a different category, might not be as helpful for the World Cup. In the long run, Damien, if we were to take the World Cup out of this conversation, absolutely a great tip for small businesses is, hooking up with people of influence in your hyper local area. Right now, I'm working with currently 30 businesses. I would say at least 90% are focusing their messaging on Facebook groups. It's the craziest thing. We haven't done this in years. Like Facebook groups were gone a few years ago, but the power of the community and driving traffic and credibility to our businesses is very valuable currently in the Facebook groups. What I would say if we're tailoring this conversation really and truly to the World Cup and not just evergreen growth for our hospitality businesses would be I would try to find people who are trying to target the World Cup audience if you were really trying to. And again, you can do this 3 weeks out of the World Cup, 4 weeks ahead, and you will be picked up in the algorithm. Like this candy store, I am telling you, they were picked up in the Westchester algorithm day 2 or 3. The tags were correct, the text on screen was correct, and the followers were just flooding. I'm 5 minutes away, I'm 10 minutes away, I can't wait for this to open, I can't wait for this to try it. You create your own excitement when you really focus on the thing you're really good at. And I think that's one thing I would love these businesses on and listening to take away from this. The idea that whatever you are most proud of is what people want to learn about. And that's the conversation of AI, right? We want that human connection, human touch. We want the founder. If you're on this call and you're not the chef or you're not the one making the food or so proud, put that person on camera. If you're the owner, like I don't want to show my face, go in the kitchen, talk to the line staff, ask them their favorite recipes. Like that's the kind of stuff people love online. I don't know if that's helpful, but like I just want them to take away the idea that their own story is what ends up performing the best.
I think so, and I think that that goes back to the theme that you said from the beginning of this, which is, focus on what you do best or what makes you special or is your best product. And your best product might be the people, right? And in addition to the great food or great drinks. And I think I'll just add 2 cents there, and then we'll hop into the next question, which is it's once you open the door, whether it be influencers or you're going to video or you're going to ask questions of the staff. That's where legal can help, and make sure that you have the proper permissions and that the content you're putting out there is going to be positive content and not infringing content on anybody else's brand or anything like that, because the whole point of this is to maybe not quite go viral as you described it, Lauren, but to get your name out there as much as possible. And once the cat's out of the bag, there's really no putting it back. But that's just a disclaimer on that. And so we have a question. I work for a restaurant group that operates locations in shopping malls/outlets and airports. How different should content be for these different venues for the World Cup? One is a destination venue, so I would think the message is different when publishing content.
That's a great question. I'd love to jump in and I might ask you a question back. So I would say, can you share what type of food the restaurant group is? And does the food change? Also, if you're comfortable, feel free to unmute yourself and chat, and we can have some fun with this, or just publish in the comments what type of food and does the type of food change? And if they have different accounts. Hi, did you unmute?
Hey guys, Carolina here. I figured it'd be easier for
All
me
right.
to speak.
Sure.
It's a
Absolutely.
lot of information. So we operate a lot of different concepts. So we have a pizza, salad, cheesesteak concept. Those are our proprietary brands, but we also operate more in the airport venues. We operate partner brands. So we have a Starbucks, we have Shake Shack, some local brands like Zara's Bakery, Dos Toros, things like that. So like, is there some sort of like, should I go back and talk to these brands and say, like, hey, in order for me to publish content around the World Cup, or we can't even say the World Cup when we're publishing because we're not sponsors, but like how do you want me to approach this? Or is it okay to just because we're licensed operators, we can move forward and just kind of post? Because they do let us post. I can visit our locations and post stuff, which is fine, and they give us brand guidelines. But how different is it when we're talking about such a world event like this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So cool and so nice to meet you. And thank you for unmuting and popping
You
on. This
as
makes
well.
these kinds of conversations so much more fun and real. Okay, so let's start with the non-airport ones. So salad, cheesesteak, I think the first part. So you kind of do have to make a decision, right? As a brand, you have to decide, is it worth trying to get my piece of the bag, right? Is it worth diving into this? Do I think that we would get more business from something like this? In that case, it sounds like some of them definitely, like cheesesteak, salads, fast food, right? And I don't mean fast food like that, but something that I can grab quickly as I'm traveling. I would absolutely think that this would be ideal content that, and Damien, you think these brands that you heard, could they use the word World Cup in their content? Not FIFA, but World Cup?
Yeah, and so Carolina, is it? I heard your comment
Yes.
there and kind of smiled, right? It's close. It's a close call. As I said at the top, they're very restrictive. FIFA is in what you can say, and even the type of marketing or type of event you might have if you're looking to host a World Cup event. That's a big red flag as well.
Right.
But I think, as I said when I made this comment earlier, if you spend a few moments focusing on and distilling down what you're going to say and what you're going to show, you'll be okay, right? Because you'll have thought through what those issues are. It's hard to say specifically what words in combination with others is okay versus what's not. It depends upon what you're looking to get out there. And the same goes for, I think, what was the second part of your question, which is, am I allowed to go out there and say I've got the best Starbucks, or I've got Starbucks in the area? If you're looking for Starbucks, all of you, you know, dreary, tired people who are figuring out how to get from Secaucus to East Rutherford, or pay $160 or whatever it is to take NJ Transit, and probably what we would do, or what you should do, Carolina, is go back to your provider agreements or distribution agreements or partner agreements, whatever it is that they're called, that you've gotten from your brands, from Starbucks. And I think that's the place to start, to know what it is you're permitted to put out there and how you're permitted to market and advertise. Just like I'm sure the displays and the way that your different stores or storefronts need to be set up to be in
Mhm.
compliance with the brand standard. I think that's the place to start on what you can do to market and advertise. That being said, it sounds like you have a terrific platform for this type of event, in that you can capture a lot of transient customers who weren't otherwise going to be in the area.
Right. Right.
And I think also, Carolina, I'd love to jump just from a content perspective, something that when Damien asked if we wanted to jump on and do a webinar like this, that I also just feel so tried and true for some of these brands that you manage. These opportunities, they may or may not bring this traffic of people traveling from all around the world. But what it does also do is provide additional follows, additional exposure for your local people who may not come now, right? Maybe they're like, oh, I'm going nowhere near East Rutherford for a few weeks. But if you can highlight, if you can use this as an opportunity to highlight menu items or claim that credibility, like I said at the beginning,
Mhm.
the Coke float that you need this summer, the must-try Coke float of spring summer 2026, or the best Philly cheesesteak. And I laughed, Damien, because I have no legal background, but in many moons ago, I took a program in legal and marketing, and how you can say we have the best coffee in the world, right? We can't get sued for saying things like
Right.
that. And in
Right.
marketing, and especially in food, which food content was my focus for so long, food specific brands. Those were things we were allowed to say, things that you can't prove, the best or the worst or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's like the must-try pizza in North Jersey, or like the best this in North Jersey, or the largest piece in North Jersey. Locals might save that content and come
Mhm.
back after the event. So what I say in my working with clients and own your brand is, if it makes sense. Obviously, I don't need a daycare. Assume none of the hospitalities are daycares, but I don't need a daycare posting about the World Cup. There's no connection between dropping our children off and and then going to work with the World Cup. I don't think they should participate in a conversation like this, but travel and stay and food, you have an
Mhm.
opportunity. It's being placed at your desks to participate in a literal world event at your doorstep. So there are some fun, creative ways where you can lean into it. I would recommend. I would strongly recommend.
Mhm. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for jumping on.
Sure. Um, so I think where we were leading, Lauren, was into, really paying and I'm going to say buying your way toward getting that audience, but it assumes, right, that your three steps are building blocks. We've got the targeted, focused SEO. We've got the consistent pattern of rolling it out there. We've now layered in maybe micro influencers, local influencers. Maybe we've paid more for a bigger name. We've zeroed in, like on Carolina's concern, what am I allowed to say? What am I allowed to show? Who am I allowed to have speak once those influencers or we bring video into the restaurant or bar area or other hospitality business? But now we've got the formula down and we really want to pump it up on steroids and go all in. What do we do next?
Yeah, I mean, meta ads would be the smartest next step I would probably recommend. This is something you and I talked about a little while ago about the idea that we need to find our new audience where they are. And the amount of people on these platforms, I would recommend for travel and food, it's actually meta ads. So you hit the nail on the head a few seconds ago when you said we've made good content, because I think that is step one in ads. I think some brands jump to paid ads, and I recommend content first. We make good content that communicates or mimics what good content is happening within your industry, and then we pump it up on steroids through meta ads. Um, think about the people who are coming to a soccer game. Do you think, how many times a day do you think they're opening TikTok, Instagram, Facebook that day? That's where you're going to find them. And you're going to find them with hyper local meta ads based on your location in the game.
And how do those work financially, economically? Is it you pay for a certain amount of ads to run a certain number of days a week or
Yeah.
a month? What is it?
Yeah. So most brands, you actually start pretty low. You could start $5 a day for a 5-day run. Are these numbers helpful? Is this what you want from me?
Yep.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, you can
sure.
start $5 a day for 5 days. What Meta has, which is another great use of AI, has the ability to basically track and tell the ads where to go based on who's engaging with it. So it's not like old school where you have to target your audience to soccer. As I said before on this call, um, if a whole family's coming from out of state or out of the country, who's the one? If we have a hyper focused soccer fan, is it the wife who's picking the restaurants, who's making sure that the kids eat before they head to the stadium if they're 20 miles away? So we don't want to target it to like soccer fans or people looking up FIFA, obviously them as well, but you just want to think a little more loosely about who this might benefit. Um, so I don't even think you need to go as serious as targeting your own ads. Meta now has these AI components where it will find the correct audience for you. So, I mean, I have brands who start with $5 a day, and I have brands up at who see the value and end up bumping it up to $100 a day. But I do think that most brands starting out, a couple bucks a day is really all you need. But very much like social, I wouldn't recommend anyone on this call start ads the day before the game. That just, I would say, go buy a Starbucks, go hop to Carolina's Starbucks and get yourself a coffee. This takes time. It takes time to find our audience. And what I teach brands in my program is it takes 7 times to see a message before we invest in it, before we decide. This is a public number, they say. So
Wow.
I just, unless you can give yourself at least a week, I probably wouldn't invest in it, but we have a couple weeks left, right? What's the date of the first game? What are we at now? We have a month.
Uh, I think early June,
Yeah,
if
we have
I'm
a month.
mistaken.
So you have more than enough time to basically say the tiers. Tier one, make 3 pieces of content that is uniquely you and your brand. And then if influencers make sense or don't make sense, that's step two. And then you could easily start to pay. And a lot of people go from good content to ads and do skip the influencer tier. That I have to say, most people do have a team that manages that. There's a lot of customer service with influencer agreements, contracts. So that's sometimes where a brand like mine might pop in, but you make good content and then you could jump to a couple bucks a day in meta ads. Absolutely. And it's totally manageable as a founder, or if you have a social strategist or a social media manager or a marketing manager, um, it's something that you can figure out easily.
And the idea being that once the event comes and goes, or that we don't even have to talk about the event, but a trial period maybe where you're using these ads. The idea being that if you don't want to continue to pay per ad or per click, if you have the content built and you've invaded that algorithm, as you said before, it's going to continue to survive and continue to pay dividends. So that being the reason to follow the building blocks and the steps that you laid out.
Yes. So big believer in being consistent online and showing up for your brand regularly. I would say if you see any takeoff from this, or if not, keeping up with it, um, there's tremendous value. I can make one more tip. I don't know if people on here are the ones managing social or not, but I have a suggestion. TikTok's a great
Sure.
place, a great algorithm to anybody can get in, right? Some people say Substack or Instagram are sometimes harder to break through the walls, but TikTok's a great place to be. It's the wild, wild west, but a pretty nice algorithm to find people, especially within hyper local hospitality. They will find people going to that game. Um, Instagram has something called Trials now. It is Instagram's version of TikTok's algorithm. So, pretty much all brands have it now. If you do not post regularly, you will not. But as long as you're posting on Instagram, when you go to post, there's something called trial, and you would toggle that on, and it works for videos only. But it is an opportunity in Instagram to publish content that's goal is to find an audience based on SEO. So these apps, these platforms want you to do well. They want you to succeed if you follow their little rules and have fun with it. But TikTok's great, but also Instagram is a great place if you use trial. And off this call, anybody on here can type into Claude, give me the steps for setting up my first trial video. And it does give it to you for free.
Lauren, if anyone here or anyone who watches this subsequent to the recording wants to get in touch with you and talk to you about using your services, how would they do that?
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat. Um, and they can absolutely send me an email, or I have a lot of communication on Instagram. A lot of people find me through Instagram, so they can send me a direct message. But you definitely have enough time to dive into this if they really wanted to.
Any other questions? Anyone have anything on that last piece, or again, anything that we discussed earlier, or maybe you were hoping to hear and we didn't discuss? Okay, I don't see any other questions. Um, closing thought for me, Lauren, is I think that if done the right way, right, this is where marketing has been, not even where it's going. But if done the right way, and we can certainly help with avoiding pitfalls, I think the message is everybody can afford a little more business, maybe a lot more business. And it's figuring it out. Nice to know that there is a path to do it in what seems like, again, I think I used the word daunting before, technological morass of what am I doing? Is it Google ads? Is it meta ads? Is it enhancing my search engine optimization? And do I need an influencer? But it really boils down to a couple of building blocks. And if you devote the time and the effort or have the resources to pay someone to do that, it can really pay significant dividends. And it's not something that you need to completely uproot your marketing, your advertising dollars, your way of doing business and put all your eggs in this basket. It's more of an enhancement. And I really think that what you've kind of the secret sauce that you've given today is really valuable. It's how to add it, how to really enhance your business, lead to potentially more business, and not break the bank in the process.
Totally, totally. Everything you just said is absolutely what I try to focus on. I use a line with my clients called social is a tool, not a task. And some of our older businesses, look at social as something that has to get done or that they have to pass off. On a Monday, they have to do it or on a Friday. And I really like, you don't have to be amazing on every platform. Pick one and do it regularly because it is an absolute tool that can help grow your business. And to your point, like with very low cost, if done the right way and if you can remain consistent. Thank you for having me. I love these chats, and I hope this is helpful for those here and those that get to watch the replay.
Yeah, no, terrific. Thank you as always, Lauren. Always great to talk to you. We will make sure that a recording of this for anyone watching that wants to go back and look at anything or listen to anything again, we'll send that out along with the prior recording that Lauren and I did with Todd Dennis from my office on likes and what exactly to do. There's a little more influence there, or a little more emphasis there on what happens when influencers come in and the legal protections that you want to have in place in your restaurant. Also, in the chat, Lauren has all her contact information. If you're interested in speaking with her directly, I encourage you to do so. She does a great job, and she's been doing a great job for a long time for some very large brands and corporations around the United States. So thank you, Lauren. It was wonderful.
I love this conversation and it's a cool opportunity. So I hope some of them take advantage of this stuff. Thank you, Damian. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.